Assessment of tertiary level science education and training in the Philippines.
According to research, as early as decade of 1950s, scientists were concerned with the state of science education in the schools. Leading scientists made Philippine authorities aware that the teaching of science from grade school to college levels in both private and public schools was very inadequate.
Philippines Association for the Advance of Science annual conference which it focuses on the training of science teachers and teaching of science. It also called the importance of the growth of science consciousness in the general population and the need to remedy the shortage of scientists in the country. In 1957, the Philippines government made the teaching of science compulsory in all elementary and secondary schools.
National Committee for Science Education, set up in 1958 to formulate objectives for teaching of science education at all levels and to recommend steps that would upgrade the teaching of science. Republic Act 55-6, an act establishing Science Education Center or SEC as a permanent unit of University of the Philippines. This act earned Mark 250,000 pesos annual from the National Special Science Fund for the support of the center. Right, developing the experiment fall edition. Teacher training. Try out. Evaluation. Revision. And preparing final edition. Other national activities. Philippine Association of Science of Teacher held a conference in 1960. It was a review of the status of science teaching in the Philippines, suggestions and recommendations for improving various aspects of science education were made. The Second Biennial Conventions focused on improving the teaching of the science through developing the skills of inquiry and creative thinking. The Science Education Project, a major project that would have the following objectives. 1. Improvement of pre-service and service education of science and mathematics teachers. Local development of science textbooks and equipment. 3. Evaluation of local produced materials. And 4. Research on teaching learning process. Master of Arts in Teaching. It was part of National Project of SEP. Math scholarship were granted to institutions rather than to individuals. Its objective was to develop within each institution a corps of science educators committed to the improvement of science teacher training programs at the undergraduate, graduate, and in service.
A long journey for science in the Philippines. Are 5 levels of assessment in tertiary education. Level 1. Assessment individual student learning courses in the first level refers to the assessment of individual student learning within courses. The goal is to measure learning as the student progress through the specific courses. The assessment tools utilized should provide data that highlight students' strengths and weaknesses and guide recommendations for improvement. Level 2. Assessment individual student learning across courses. The second level is the assessment of individual student learning across courses. This level of assessment allows stakeholders to measure student development as they move through their specific major or program curriculum. Level 3. Assessment courses. The third level of assessment asks programs and institutions to evaluate the effectiveness of courses in helping students meet learning objectives, prepare to future courses, and obtain expected levels of knowledge and skills proficiencies. Level 4. Assessment programs. The fourth level of assessment involves the assessment of program with the goal of measuring the alignment between curriculum designs and learning objectives. The data gathered at this level assessment demonstrates students to meet learning objectives and further highlights educational gaps within the curriculum. Level 5. Assessment institution. The fifth level of assessment in higher education involves measuring the effectiveness of the institutions in educating students and preparing them for success post-graduation. The results gathered from institution-level assessments are used to improve curriculum designs and meet both internal and external requirements for educational quality.